All right, before we go into the actual body systems, we need to know a little more about animals. And so today we're going to do a little intro to animals. All right, so first, what do animals do to survive? We know from past and talking about things with animals that all animals are made of eukaryotic cells. All right, that means they have a nucleus, they have organelles, and we know that those cells do not have a cell wall. That's what gives them the ability to move, change shapes, things like that. We also know that all animals are heterotrophs, which means they cannot make their own food. They have to eat other organisms, other things to gain energy. And what we're looking at in this unit is all animals have things that carry out essential functions, such as feeding, digestive system, respiration, breathing, respiratory system. Taking all this stuff we bring in and moving it through the body, that's the circulatory system. Excretion, getting rid of waste. Response, this is our nervous system. If I threw something at your face, the response would be to duck, to move, to do something. All right, that's caused by your nervous system. That movement that the response causes is made happen by your bones, skeletal system, and your muscles, muscular system. And then, of course, why all life exists is for reproduction. Okay. In order to survive, animals must maintain homeostasis. There's that H word again. You star that, bold it, highlight it, something, because that is an important word. It has been all year. All right. Homeostasis is that balance. The balance between what's inside the organism and all the external, outside things that are changing around it. So we know that normal body temperature is around 98.6 degrees. If it's a July summer day in Texas where the temperature reaches 104, that's going to make this number go up. Your body has to do something to maintain that balance, maintain this 98.6. So, of course, our body makes us sweat to cool us down. All right, that's one example of homeostasis. How this happens is through what we call feedback, and there are two different types of feedback, and that's a control system that makes this stuff happen, makes that balance happen inside the body. All right. The first one is positive feedback. Positive feedback is an infinite loop. It keeps going and going and going, never stops. All right. It has to keep happening in order for the organism to survive. So the example we give here is you have money in your checking account. All right. Say we have $100 in our checking account. Over the course of the month, that $100 gains interest. All right. So we got more money. That money is put back into the balance, which makes this balance go up. And then it happens again the next month. And then again. And it keeps going and it never stops. All right. Same thing's happening with some of the things that are going on inside your body as well. Okay. Negative feedback is a one-time thing. It is a process that is stopped or shut down when equilibrium is reached. We want everything to be equal. So that example I just gave you with your body temperature. If your body temperature increases, your body has to do something to bring that back down, so it creates sweat. The sweat then returns your body temperature to normal, and it stops. Done. All right. If it keeps going like this infinite loop up here, your body temperature would decrease too much, and then we'd have the opposite problem. Okay. But this is a one-time, get it back to normal, get it back to balanced event. All right. So recall back at last semester we talked about the order of things, and we just have to remember, because we're looking now all the way down here at systems and the actual organism, but we got to remember where we started. All right, we started from the smallest thing, the atom. Atoms make up biomolecules, which are chemicals that are inside of us. Those biomolecules come together to make up organelles. We're building here. Organelles make up cells, cells make up tissue, tissue make up organs, and then here's where we are, putting those organs together to make systems. And then ultimately, the entire organism. So when a animal is first developing, when that egg is fertilized by that sperm, we have growth. All right, we go from one single cell, and we do mitosis. Remember mitosis back from last semester. We take that cell, we replicate it, we make another, we split. Now we have two, and then 2 becomes 4, and then 4 becomes 8. All right, and the process keeps going and going until we get this ball of cells. All right, you put all these balls of cells, all these cells together. Inside's a nice hollow cavity. All right, we have this hollow cavity of cells. We call that a blastula. All right, that's the beginning of the organism forming. All right, as this forms, it forms 3 layers of cells. The first one is the ectoderm. All right, and why we look at this is how's the organism being built. Do we build it from the inside out, or do we build it from the outside in? When the organism is built, it's built from the outside in because it wants to build protection for those vital organs before the organs are made. So the first step, the ectoderm, forms the outer layer. It forms your skin, nerves, and sense organs. All right. The second layer that's formed inside of that is the mesoderm, and this forms your muscles and your skeleton. So all of this stuff is formed for protection. It's formed first to protect. And what's it formed to protect? The endoderm layer. This is, digestive tract, liver, lungs, heart, kidneys. All your vital organs are made last so that they are protected the full time they're there. All right, so different types of animals. And we're going to get going with this because then we're going to hit these 2 types here. But we got to remember first, all animals are heterotrophic. They have to eat other organisms to survive, and they are all multicellular. There are no single-celled animals. They're all multicellular. And how we first group them is whether they have a backbone or not. Okay? If they do not have a backbone, they're called invertebrates, not vertebrate. No backbone. This makes up 95% of all animals on the planet. We don't generally think that because we look at this other category, these vertebrates that have a backbone. For instance, us, we fit in this category. Cows, sheep, pigs, dogs, cats, all these different organisms that have backbones, and we think, man, there's a lot of those, but that's only 5% of the total. Okay? And so as we go through the different types here, the vertebrates and invertebrates, you're going to see why, because we don't think about how many different organisms there are in this first category. All right, the last thing we're going to look at today is symmetry. Symmetry means whether that organism is built in a uniformed way. All right, so the first one is asymmetry. A means not. No, not symmetrical. So if we look at this piece of coral here, and I cut this thing straight down the middle, the right and the left side, they don't look the same, not symmetrical. If I cut it this way, the top and the bottom still don't look symmetrical. It grows in whatever shape, whatever pattern it wants to at the time. No 2 coral are alike. Okay. The second one is bilateral. All right, bilateral. So 2, if I cut this thing into 2, there'll be 2 halves that are the same. So here we have a human. If we cut this human straight down the middle from the head right through their pelvis, right and the left side are the same. We have one eyeball, one ear, shoulder, shoulder, elbow, elbow, hand, hand, knee, knee, leg, leg, foot, foot. Everything's exactly the same on the right and the left side. That's bilateral symmetry. Radial comes from the word radius. All right, radius, remember, if we have a circle, we find the center point, it's to the outside, that's the radius. Using this thinking, all right, if we find a single axis, single point right in the center of this organism, such as this jellyfish, no matter how I cut it, if I cut it this way, both halves are the same. If I cut it this way, both halves are the same. If I cut both ways, all 4 quadrants are exactly the same. That's radial symmetry. You see this in your round organisms or your cylindrical organisms, that they have this symmetry. No matter how you were to look at them, it looks the exact same. Okay? All right, so that's it for the day. We will go into invertebrates starting tomorrow.